Hey, so I've been meaning to make this video for a second. I feel like a lot of videos I start off telling y'all I've been meaning to make a video, but it's it happens to me that something happens or I want to talk about something, and I've kind of learned how to when something happens to me that either hurts my feelings or makes me feel some type of way, I try to exploit that feeling inside of me. I try to kind of pick it apart and see what it is that really hurts me and get to the root of my pain instead of, keeping it at the surface level. And I wasn't doing anything that really made me feel gratified. It wasn't anything that made me feel good. It was just something that made me feel stable enough to continue a relationship that in reality I wasn't getting what I needed from it. But in my head, I think I thought to myself, and I'm sure this is some misogyny bullshit, but I felt kind of like, if this man, sees my work as legitimate and wants to love me and care for me, then isn't that the point of it all? And, I will say this, throughout this relationship I had with this person, I had many conversations with people that I consider my friends, and a lot of them were really not here for the conversation because I think a lot of the people that I was trying to confide in with this relationship realized from jump the red flags, and wanted me to kind of come to my own conclusion without, forcing me or seemingly trying to be in control of me or not be supportive. And I ended up alienating a lot of people out of my life because I was trying to get to the root of this relationship that was obviously toxic, obviously had some like crazy, had some really fucked up dynamics in terms of power. Um, and I remember one friend in particular, said to me, what is the point of this? What are you getting out of this relationship? And, even to this day, all I can say that I truly got out of that relationship was, this feeling of inadequacy, this feeling of childishness that is obviously ageist, but it made me feel like, in ways infantilized. So with that being said, I got nothing but negative and toxic and unproductive things from this relationship. However, at the same time, I spent so much time talking and confiding with so many people, two people in particular, that I just feel like, man, I could have been using those connections with those people for so many other things, for so much work that could be done, that needs to be done. It's just embarrassing at this point how much I really not necessarily wanted this relationship to work out, but I just wanted to know that I wasn't wasting my time. And no one could tell me that. Not one of my friends could tell me if I'm wasting my time or not because I was not in a relationship with them. But again, another red flag. When you're constantly asking other people to kind of validate a relationship that is not being validated by the people who are involved in it. You feel me? Like that's a huge red flag. But again, at the time, I didn't see it that way. And I thought that maybe if I just asked for outside counsel that I could somehow figure out how to be in this relationship or find out how to like have some sort of worth in this relationship. And one of the people in particular that I had, confided in about this relationship, we weren't really on close friend terms. We actually had a falling out like previously to me meeting this person that I was interested in being with. And when we became, I suppose, friends again in ways, I kind of went in like telling her all of the stuff that was going on in this relationship. And I think there were a couple times where she urged me to like really think about what I was getting out of this relationship. But for the most part, I could tell that she wanted me to kind of, you know, just distance myself from this person and really kind of just get back to what I wanted to do. And I understood where they were coming from, but at the same time, I didn't want to just walk away from this person. I didn't want to just call it quits. I didn't want to just say, okay, it's not working, let me leave. I really felt like I always felt like in this relationship, and I feel like, again, another red flag, was I was just on the cusp. Like I was just so close to understanding this person, having this person understand me, being in a relationship with this person that I felt like was not only real, but just like valid. I just kind of kept feeling like if I just worked harder, if I just did more, if I just tried to understand better, that I would be in a relationship that was not only meaningful to me, but that made me feel kind of like I wasn't wasting my time. And this one friend in particular ended up, doing a couple things that I really didn't fucks with. One time we went to a bar and the person that, I considered one of my good friends was out and about and, wanted to, wanted to kind of do something that I don't want to say I didn't approve of, but wanted to do something that I felt like was kind of risky. We were going to a bar and they were using a pair of vibrating underwear and they wanted to kind of hand out the remote to people on the low low. And I'm not on some slut shaming shit. If you wanna, if you wanna experience your sexuality in a situation or a setting where that's not typical, I'm definitely not gonna, make any kind of disparaging remarks. However, this person who I consider my friend was giving the remote to people, or rather to the person that I was interested in, and I kind of just felt disrespected in ways because I was like, all right, well, you know what this remote is for, not these other people, especially not the person that I'm interested in. And it made me kind of in ways, her response to it immediately wasn't one of like understanding. In ways it kind of made me kind of think about if I was being possessive and or jealous. And I have to say this, there's nothing wrong with being upset about someone crossing a boundary that maybe you haven't talked about or maybe you haven't discussed. But I feel like at that time, I had been pouring my heart out about this person to her to the point where I felt like it was just obviously going to be inappropriate to do that with that person. But after, me confronting her, she was able to understand where I was coming from and seemed, empathetic. But at the same time, other situations happened preceding that where it was obvious that she really didn't care that I was trying to work on this relationship with this person. Um, and I just like, I kind of just in ways like constantly had conversations with her that were escalated and seemingly very heated. And, in retrospect, I'm I'm completely suspicious of all of the things that happened after I confided in her because a couple of weeks ago, she ran on my mind and I hadn't heard from her for a little bit. And I had been reaching out to her on Facebook, but she really wasn't there for me and wasn't really trying to contact me. And so when I got my phone, I decided to, I wanted to call her. I wanted to give her my new number so that she could call me if anything. And I call her, and the first thing I say is, "I miss you so much. I can't. It's good to hear your voice." Because in reality, I feel like even if I'm like so into somebody, I can still forgive a friend for doing something that I don't think is like cool or understanding or polite or considerate. I can forgive those things, but I feel like in a lot of ways, this relationship has let me know when I'm too understanding or when I condone things that I really don't condone. You know what I mean? I realize now that I really let a lot of things slide when I should have created clear boundaries, which is something I was not able to do at the time because I think for me, and the point of this video was about abandonment issues and about not wanting to walk away even when something's bad, not wanting to walk away even when something's not serving you anymore, not wanting to walk away when something is like not giving you what you know you deserve and what you know that like you're able to give back. And I feel like I've learned with both of these people, the person that I consider my friend and the person I wanted to be with, I realized that these were both people I didn't want to be with, and these were both people I didn't want to be friends with. However, I went through the motions of faux friendship, gesturing about, community and gesturing about implied connections because I truly did want to have that connection with someone, just not people that were like not about respecting me and not about treating me like someone that was like worth caring about. And I feel like in ways because of my past abandonment issues, I think that sometimes when people are manipulative and sometimes when people do things that deliberately hurt me, I don't necessarily see that automatically as someone trying to hurt me. I sometimes perhaps see that as someone giving me tough love or someone giving me or someone wanting me to rise to an occasion, someone wanting me to fight for our friendship or our relationship. And again, those are not relationships that serve me, and those are not relationships that serve either of the people involved, because in reality, all it does is create a weird climate where, the dynamics of power are obviously blurred and in favor of another person and leave me feeling, again, abandoned, again, not well received and just not understood. And but as I was saying, I called this person, to kind of tell them that I missed them and that I cared for them. Uh, and, they started laughing. And I feel like that's like what really kind of got me kind of fucked up is when I called them and I said I missed them and they started laughing. They asked me why I missed them or rather they said, "Are you sure you miss me?" And when they said that, I wasn't really sure what they meant by that, and I feel like it's not even just being naive. I think it's more so being caught off guard. I really did reach out to this person through Facebook, and I didn't think that they were ignoring me on purpose. However, I realize this now. But when they said, "Are you sure you miss me?" and I questioned why they would say that, they told me that they were now dating the person that they had not only urged me to get away from, but that they had obviously crossed boundaries with me with before I had left New Orleans. And as soon as they told me that, I kind of had like this memory flood where I started thinking of every time I ever was with the three of them or with the both of them, um, trying to see if I can recall any moment where I felt like I would have known or I should have known. And I immediately, started to feel, very anxious, and started to, have like a miniature freak out, because again, this person that I wanted to be with created so many doubts inside of me that they had me working at a job, or rather, these emotions had me working at a job that I don't want to work at, seemingly to impress this person. And now, me seeing them in a whole different light, me understanding that the kind of relationship they wanted was with someone who was willing to, wait in the wings, someone who was willing to kind of, take a back seat and pop up from time to time, and not only like throw our friendship away, but also throw our trust away and our understanding and our connection away. And I think like my immediate reaction, was, as I said, anxiety, and then, I was angry. I was very upset, and I was sad, and I was worried, and I was just like not understanding how, the how someone can go from, calling someone out about real things to saying this is someone I want to be with, to the point where I will ignore my friendship with the person that not only introduced us, but to the person that, I seemingly had loyalty to beforehand. And I realized moving forward that it's not gonna do shit for me to hold on to this shit. You know what I mean? Just like when McNally fucked like my ex, like it's not gonna do shit for me to really harp on this and to try to internalize these feelings that are not mine to internalize. These are two people that had obviously, a connection that they wanted to have, and it didn't mean anything to not contact me. It didn't mean anything to let me know what was going on. And in ways, like, of course I'm hurt. Of course it feels weird to have someone who you considered like a best friend be with someone that you really feel like they just kind of took your care and your love and just spun it around and like made you feel kind of disoriented and just not enough. And it's definitely a sobering feeling. It definitely, brings me to a place where, I recall other situations that were not only similar, but that made me feel similar. And that's what kind of drew me to the conclusion that my abandonment issues really forces me a lot of times to create relationships with people that I fucking know I can't have a relationship with, or forces me to kind of continue on a relationship with someone or let someone back into my life that is not good for me. And I realize it's easier to say this shit than to actually start doing the work that would make it so that I never fucking let people in my life that I feel like are not going to do anything for me, that I feel like are not going to give back to me in the ways that I want to be receiving energy and support and care in. And I'm just like, I'm at a point where like it feels good to say it out loud. It feels good to share this with y'all. It feels good to tell y'all, I have been hurt by this, that this hurts me, and like that, like moving forward, I want to be more in control of who I let into my heart and who I let around me and in my space. And obviously, again, you can't internalize what someone did to you. If someone punches you in the face, it's not up to you to be thinking that you deserve that shit or that you deserve for anyone to treat you poorly. That's not the point of that. I feel like the lesson should always be that, that you were in a point, or you were in a phase of your life, or perhaps where you're at right now in your life. It's not a phase, it's just something you need to work through. I feel like to come to the conclusion that this person did something fucked up to me, and to let them be the holder of the pain, let them be the holder of the reality of how you've been hurt, to let them be in charge of like their own emotions and their own energy that they're trying to give to you that you don't need to receive. And I feel like that's a part of quote unquote baggage. That's a part of historical trauma. I feel like you can't really keep on holding on to all this pain and not understanding that not only did you have nothing to do with how someone else treated you, but you have nothing to do with the way other people bring shit into your life. Just like we all carry things with us, other people that hurt you are carrying things as well. And I feel like the two people that hurt me tried to leave some baggage in my life that I refuse to carry. I refuse to check those bags. I refuse to look in those bags. I refuse to act like those bags are mine. I have enough bags that I'm carrying. I have enough historical trauma. I have enough abandonment issues that I'm already holding on to from people in my life that I still need to confront. And I can't really be trying to find space for these people that obviously don't even value me enough to contact me about their previous relationship or their relationship perhaps changing in ways after I move away. Like, I don't need to be internalizing those things. And I did for a time. I did really feel like I was to blame. I did feel guilty. I did feel bad. I did feel hurt. Then I felt bad for being hurt. I felt bad for feeling emotional towards the fact that, like, two people that I seemingly trusted, one more than the other, just came up to be people that I really couldn't trust and be people that I really couldn't fucks with and people I really couldn't confide in. And I think all I can do is move forward and just be more mindful. But in this, I've definitely been able to see where I have kind of self-sabotaged myself, where I let people into my life even though I saw them coming in with bags full of shit. So this was more so a video for me to just kind of, vent, but also just like put myself in perspective. More importantly, I want to start over internally. I want to kind of look at things and be objective and be understanding of how people move and be understanding of how that may or may not work for my life, and being able to cut people out of my life without feeling bad, without feeling some sort of shame for not being able to care for someone or do work that someone wants me to do. Prioritize myself, center my own work, center my own need for care. And it's important for y'all to understand that as well. Like, if people aren't really letting you center yourself in any of these situations, that's a red flag. People not letting you center your experience and talk at length about what's going on with you in particular, that's just like completely not fair, but also it's completely unacceptable. You're allowed to fucking sit there and really center yourself in all the situations you're involved in. And you're allowed to tell people no. You're allowed to tell people I can't. You're allowed to tell people that was fucked up and I don't fuck with you no more. You're allowed to say those things and you're allowed to not feel fucking shame about it. Hey. So I've been meaning to make this video for a second. I feel like a lot of videos I start off telling y'all I've been meaning to make a video, but it happens to me that something happens or I want to talk about something, and I've kind of learned how to when something happens to me that either hurts my feelings or makes me feel some type of way, I try to exploit that feeling inside of me. I try to kind of pick it apart and see what it is that really hurts me and get to the root of my pain instead of, keeping it at the surface level. And I wasn't doing anything that really made me feel gratified. It wasn't anything that made me feel good. It was just something that made me feel stable enough to continue a relationship that in reality I wasn't getting what I needed from it, but in my head, with people that I consider my friends, and a lot of them were really not here for the conversation, because I think a lot of the people that I was trying to confide in with this relationship realized from jump the red flags, and wanted me to kind of come to my own conclusion without, forcing me or seemingly trying to be in control of me or not be supportive. And I thought to myself, and I'm sure this is some misogyny bullshit, but I felt kind of like, if this man, sees my work as legitimate and wants to love me and care for me, then isn't that the point of it all? And, I will say this, throughout this relationship I had with this person, I had many conversations alienating a lot of people out of my life because I was trying to get to the root of this relationship that was obviously toxic, obviously had some like crazy, had some really fucked up dynamics in terms of power. And I remember one friend in particular, said to me, what is the point of this? What are you getting out of this relationship? And, even to this day,